Welcome to Innovation Fund Denmark's webinar on Innofounder. Research and innovation is Denmark's most important resource, and our future depends on the strength of the overall Danish research and innovation system. We must make a living from developing solutions to the world's challenges in areas such as climate, health, and welfare. Innovation Fund Denmark therefore invests in entrepreneurs, researchers, and companies so that they can develop innovative and sustainable solutions that strengthen the competitiveness and sustainability of Danish society, and thus create value for Denmark. In this webinar, I will introduce you to Innofounder and provide some insights into how to apply for the program. The purpose of the Innofounder program is to accelerate the development of innovative entrepreneurial ideas from the early stages to a point where the company becomes financially sustainable. This can, for example, be achieved through selling or by obtaining additional public or private investments. The Innofounder program offers a 12-month course with teaching, mentoring, and feedback from other entrepreneurs. And the time is spent on activities related to the development of the idea, business, and the company as such. The funding provided in the Innofounder is a salary of 27,500 Danish kroner per month per founder for up to 3 founders, and 100,000 Danish kroner in development grants per company. The program has some requirements for the founders, the idea, and the company. Requirements for the founders is that you have to have completed a higher education with a minimum of 120 ECTS study points, that the founders enrolled in the program work full-time on the idea, that each founder enrolled in the program own at least 12.5% of the company, and that you participate actively in the program. For the requirements for the idea goes that it is an innovative idea with the potential to become economically sustainable over time, that it is not yet funded to a significant extent, and that it has not generated substantial revenue. For the requirements for the company goes that the CVR number cannot be older than 3 years, that the company is based primarily on the startup idea, and that the company clearly differs from your existing or previous companies. And it is essential that the company has the right to commercialize the idea. Here we have visualized the scope of the idea, and the startup is too early for the Innofounder program if it's still in the idea stage. It is also too early if you have not yet been in dialogue with the market and users in order to understand the need and a suitable design for the service or product. It is also considered too early if there is a lack of team or a lack of plan on how to add the necessary skills for developing the idea. The idea is, on the other hand, too mature if there is no real development left, but only sales and marketing. And it is also considered too mature if you have too much funding from other sources, or have already attracted the necessary capital for the development of your idea. We don't have any specific numbers on the amount of funding that would be too much, since it differs from case to case what it takes to develop and mature the idea. If you have already generated too much turnover, and if you're already having a repeatable business running with other products, then you might find the Innobooster program interesting. The idea is within the scope of the program if it's an early stage, but have some initial clarification of the market and the need is addressed. You might have letters of interest from potential customers, or maybe some pre-orders or some initial test sales, and you maybe have attracted the first pre-seed funding. The Innofounder program can fund projects that fall within one of the 3 themes, which is green technology and innovation, life science, health and welfare technology, and digitalization, technology and innovation. If the project does not fall within a theme, an application can be made for the non-theme specific funds. When you apply, you should indicate and briefly state why the entrepreneurial idea suits the chosen theme or the non-theme specific funds. If an application is submitted under the non-theme specific fund, but is assessed to also suit funds within one of the 3 themes, we may initially process the application under the relevant thematic fund before it, if no grant is obtained here, is processed under the non-theme thematic funds. If we assess that an application has been submitted under the wrong theme, we may contact you in order to investigate whether this is the case. If it is the case, you can request via eGrant to have the application transferred to the correct theme. If an application is submitted under a theme and recommended for funding, but the relevant thematic fund is spent, the application will automatically be processed under the non-theme specific funds. We have 3 main evaluation criteria. That is quality of the idea, impact, and quality of execution. For the quality of the idea, we assess whether it is clear what the idea is about, that the idea stems from relevant education or experience, that it is clear how the idea is innovative, and that the idea and its implementation is clearly different from competing solution products or services. For the impact criteria, we assess whether it is demonstrated that there is a need, users, paying customers, and market, that a financial sustainable business can be established in the long term and Innofounder significantly increases the chances, that the idea has the potential to create value for Denmark, that is, economic growth and or solving societal challenges, and that the idea is within the listed thematic area. For the quality of execution, we assess whether the team has the relevant and diverse skills and experience, and that a realistic plan to address any shortcomings, that the idea is realistic and can be implemented in practice, that there is demonstrated that the program can make the idea financially sustainable, and that the total investment from Innovation Fund Denmark matches the needs, potential, and risk profile. The application process for the Innofounder program consists of a written application and a pitch. Before you apply, please note that some educational institutions and business centers offers help with the application. You can ask locally what opportunities you have to get feedback on your application. You must complete and submit your application via the electronic application system eGrant. An application entails a short summary of the project, an indication of whether the project fits into one of the themes or the non-theme funding, a project description, appendices, and a budget. In the eGrant system, you must create a profile and you can start filling out the application form when the program opens, and this will typically be 4 weeks before the application deadline. The application can be saved along the way, and you can easily go in and out of the form several times. And you can also invite other people to access the same application, and you can help each other in the writing process. If you fulfill the formal requirements, your application will be evaluated due to the assessment criteria. The best application will be invited to present the project for our panel committee. The applications that are not invited to the pitch will be rejected at this point in the assessment process. At the pitch, you will present your idea for our panel committee, and here you can choose to present in Danish or in English. After the pitch, the panel committee will recommend the application for approval or rejection. And it will be the management of the Secretariat of the Innovation Fund Denmark that will make the final decision. When the final decision is made, it is communicated to you via eGrant. And if you receive funding, you need to accept the grant, and afterwards you can start the Innofounder program. We aim to give you an answer as quick as possible, but the number of applications vary from call to call, and our aim is to give you an answer within 4 months after the application deadline. During the assessment process, the application undergoes an administrative check. After this check, the application is assessed by a minimum of 2 people. It is only the application, including the permitted attachments, that will be assessed. The assessment will be made on the basis of the pre-assessment criteria, which is the quality of the idea, impact, and quality of execution. If the assessors recommend rejection, they will add some reasons for rejections. And there will often be multiple rejections. If they recommend pitch, then there could be some clarifying questions that may be added to the panel committee. All applications are ranked and the best are invited to pitch. All applications have weaknesses, even those that make it to the pitch and also those who get a grant. The application must contain different things. First, there is a master data about the applicants and the formal declarations such as study and work permits. Please be careful to fill in this data because we use it to get in touch with you if you get a grant. The following documents must be attached to the application: a diploma for graduates or documentation of expected graduation date for students. And this can maximum be 3 pages per applicant. And it should be clear for the education for each of the founders applying that it has at least 120 ECTS study points. You must also attach a CV with a clear indication of the extent of and nature of work experience, and this is maximum 2 pages per applicant. The assessment will be made on the description of the idea in the application form. However, you are welcome to attach up to 3 pages of additional appendixes. This could, for instance, be an illustration of the idea, a graphic representation of the competing situation, expression of interest, or the similar. Avoid repeating what is already described in the application. Appendixes exceeding 5 pages, and this is excluding the mandatory appendixes, will not be included in the assessment. The appendices must be in PDF format and not exceed 25 megabytes in total. So you need to be specific in your application. Avoid interpretations, for instance. We've talked to all the most important customers, or our product is super innovative and we have all the right skills. You need to name customers, describe how the product is different, and describe your skills and where they come from. There are always competition. And if you don't have any direct competitors, there are still solutions or indirect competitors that are relevant for implementing your idea. And don't leave them out, even if your solution is better, different, or targets a different audience. And you also need to test the narrative of your idea. Can others understand what you have written, or do they have a lot of clarifying questions? If these are questions that someone with a broad knowledge of the area would also have, the narrative might need to be clearer. Here we have listed the most common reasons for rejections. The first to mention is a lack of competences in the team. And here it might not be clear that you have the necessary competences to mature the idea in business and carry out the activities applied for. Or it might not be clear or realistic how you will compensate for team shortcomings in and around the company. The second is a lack of differentiation. Here it might not be clear how you differentiate from competitors, or that your idea is innovative and a new solution is created, and it might be unclear what the product, solution, and idea is. A third common reason is an inadequate market validation. Here, perhaps there is a lack of dialogue with customers, or there's no clear link between the overall problem described and the product or solution that is developed. Or it might be unclear that a sustainable business is possible. The final reason to mention here is the possibility to become economically sustainable. This is, for instance, if it's unclear that a sustainable business is possible, or unclear that there is a market that is willing to pay for the solution. If you're invited to pitch your idea for our panel committee, the pitches are held in Aarhus or Copenhagen. The panel consists of people with general business knowledge and domain knowledge of the fields the application falls within. The presentation is oral and physical items are allowed, and the entire team can participate. First, you will have 3 minutes for an oral presentation without interruptions from the panel, and you can present either in Danish or in English. Next, there will be 7 minutes for Q&A. Afterwards, we will thank you for the presentation and you have to leave the room. Then the panel will do the voting. There will be up to 6 pitches per day. And present on the day will be 5 panel members and representatives from the Innovation Fund. And everyone have a duty of confidentiality. You can bring a prototype or something you can show, but you cannot present with slides. Other persons that are not directly involved in the operation of business may not participate. If you get through and are invited to pitch before the panel, there are a few do's and don'ts to have in mind. You need to practice your presentation. The 3 minutes is a hard limit and the presentation is stopped. This way we ensure that everyone has equal time to pitch. That's why it's important to have practice and time your presentation. And feel free to mention developments since you sent your application. We know that the entrepreneurial idea may have evolved since you've submitted your application, or you might have learned something new that is relevant for your idea, and it's fine to mention these things. Also prepare for questions. The panel will ask about any elements of your application that are unclear, so read the guidelines before the pitch and prepare for questions that might arise. Also agree on who will answer what. You also need to be aware of the weaknesses and be ready to answer briefly and precisely. And don't spend too much time on individual questions. The more questions the panel can ask, the more uncertainty they will clear up. So keep your answers short and there's room for more questions. And use networks or feedback in your preparation. Have someone else read through your application and provide feedbacks on strengths and weaknesses. This will prepare you well for the pitch session. And as mentioned earlier, several educational institutions and business centers have people who can help you with the application process and provide feedback. Okay. The Incubator process, which is part of the Innofounder program that founders are enrolled in, consists of several elements. And we have these 5 main pillars, which is the first one is the mentor team, where you meet up with the mentor chosen specific for your project, and you will meet several times during the course. And this is the main element of the course. Then we have the Innofounder platform, which is where you will find all the resources, network access, and materials that you will need. Then we have design and access to a design mentor. Then there is the networking. And last, different tracks with knowledge on specific themes that you will have to work with. And you can decide on the tracks together with your mentor. There are some mandatory elements in this course, and that is the mentor meetings, and there will be approximately 20 meetings in total, and they have the duration of 1.5 hours, and you must spend time on preparation beforehand. Then there is a startup phase where you meet the batch and spend up to 4 full days of onboarding. Then along the course, there will be forms and surveys that you will have to answer. And in total, it is estimated to take a full day's work spread over 12 months. And lastly, you must also complete the tracks you sign up for. 4 weeks before the deadline, the eGrant system opens and you can log in and start creating your application. We have 2 calls per year, and you can check our website to see the application deadlines, but they will always be at 12 noon on the specific date. We have an expected pitch response time on 9 weeks. 12 to 13 weeks after the deadline, the pitch days are held, and we expect to be able to give you an answer on whether or not you can receive a grant after 3 weeks after the pitch. And then it is possible to start the project or the Innofounder program up to 4 months after the grant announcement. There are several places where you can find help with your application. The business centers in all regions offers help with applications, but there may be differences in whether a business center can help you if you don't have a CBR number yet. So please check locally. The startup hubs at the educational institutions also offer help with applications in several phases. And if you need some technical support for the eGrant system, you can contact the eGrant support on the phone number that you can see here in the slide. And you can contact them weekdays between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. And then you can, of course, also check out our website for special webinars, presentations, or online Q&A sessions.